For the first time, the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP-30, is taking place in the heart of the Amazon, the world's largest rainforest, and often described as the lungs of the Earth. In this unique setting, participants of the Alatra International Public Movement met with representatives of Brazil's indigenous peoples. Here, where nature still speaks in its original voice, the warning about profound climatic shifts becomes especially clear. In this video, we share their words, an honest, direct, and vital call to the world to face the truth about the state of our planet and to unite in its defense.
We have already met in summer at SB62, and we are so happy to meet you again today here at the COP-30. Could you please introduce yourself?
I am Adriana Kayani. I am an indigenous woman from northeastern Brazil. I represent the Caatinga biome. My people are the Xukuru of Ororubá. We are part of the ministry.
I am Tupinambá. I am from the Tupinambá people of Olivença. I live in Brazil, in Bahia. I live in an indigenous village, and I am part of a federal government program called Kuntari Katu, which is indigenous leaders in global politics. And I represent, in fact, the voice of my people. Right. And I bring territorial demarcation as mitigation and as climate justice, because there is no climate justice if indigenous territories are not demarcated, right? Because there is no environmental protection. If we do not have full access to the rights that we have, our territory is our protection in the villages.
What is the main focus of your work, and what brings you today here to the conference COP-30?
I hope that with this COP taking place in Brazil, on indigenous land, because Pará is indigenous territory in Brazil, it becomes a moment for the world to understand how we, indigenous peoples, not only here in Brazil but everywhere, love Mother Earth. Here in Brazil, and I believe in other territories as well, indigenous peoples fight for nature so that everyone can have access to Mother Earth. Here we live through a process of reclaiming our lands. Our leaders are murdered and they lose their lives defending our land, a land that was taken from us back in 1500. For us, the land is sacred. She is our mother. The seas and the rivers are also our mother of water. It is through the land that we survive. She gives us food. She gives us the water that quenches our thirst. So the earth, besides being our mother and protecting us, allowing us to continue existing here, is something we defend with our own lives. Because if the earth does not exist, then we do not exist either. This is our love as indigenous peoples for Mother Earth. I believe that having COP in Brazil is a chance for the world to understand that we, indigenous peoples, hold the key to preserving life. We reforest, and we know how to do it. Even with all the losses caused by capitalism, we still manage to restore the forest. We manage to protect the land because we love the land, and we understand that if the earth dies, we die with her. If the rivers dry up, we will not survive. We will have no water and no way to keep the plants alive. Therefore, it is essential that the universe and all of humanity learns to view Mother Earth through an indigenous lens. She is our mother.
So the federal government, together with the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples, the Kuntari Katu, and the Ministry of the Environment and Climate Change, has been carrying out work that for the first time ever has brought a very large indigenous presence here. More than 3,000 indigenous people are participating in COP-30, so we can bring the voice of our people to the world. Each representative plays a role. There are 33 global leaders, and each one brings their own focus: mitigation, adaptation, loss and damage, climate justice, financing, among others. In my case, I brought territorial demarcation as both mitigation and climate justice. And I also want to make it very clear that this issue of climate change and the fight against climate change is not only an indigenous responsibility. In truth, it belongs to all of us, because we all have the right and the duty to protect the environment.
What do you expect as a result of this conference, COP-30?
First, I want indigenous peoples to be heard, right? When COP-30 ends, I hope the world will hear our cry and give us direct access to funding so we can develop our own projects, move forward, and keep fighting for the protection of the environment. And we need to remember that this protection is not only for indigenous peoples, it is for everyone. I hope there will be the demarcation of our lands, of our territories. I hope the world understands that we need environmental protection, and we need to stop mining. We need to stop oil extraction. We need to stop all of this. We need to stop the devastation and truly confront climate change. And we need all governments and all parties to support indigenous territories and indigenous peoples.
What do you think how important it is, the global cooperation in facing this challenge, the progression of the natural disasters and the public awareness?
Indigenous peoples are known for something. We are recognized for our unity, for our partnerships, for coming together, and for standing side by side in the struggle for a cause, for many causes. So I hope the world understands that we need to unite. Together, we can build genuine partnerships, stand united, and protect the environment collectively.
Obrigado. Thank you so much.